Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. It's been a while at this point, but that's mostly been due to an assortment of projects which made it rather difficult to record lots of long-term stuff. But I have, as you can see, started on something new, and since individually the models are fairly simple, I thought I'd do a start-to-finish run-through of how I did it. So yeah, this is Bolt Action, painting up my British. Normally I'd completely skip the whole preparation stage, but I've decided I may as well, mostly to test the new recording setup I've got. I've got it right in front of my computer, so it's much easier to control and manage and the like. We'll have to fiddle around with the resolution settings later, but, well, I've already got the footage so far. But yeah, so I'm just doing the basic cleaning stage. I've already assembled the necessary pieces of our little British infantryman here, and I'm in the process of cleaning it off. So, yeah, I'm not actually very good at this. I have a tendency to be a bit heavy-handed with the scalpel and all the other tools. In some respects, I'm quite amazed I don't mutilate myself more often. But yeah, so this is the usual process I take for preparing just about any plastic miniature. Scrape off the seam lines with a hobby knife if necessary, though occasionally the Citadel scraping tool you can see there in the background works just as well and is far less likely to, well, cut yourself. And start test fitting as I go. Yeah, I'm unfortunately mostly working off camera, but that's mostly because some of the bits, like the belt kit pieces, the grenades and the like, they get a little fiddly, so you need to have, I need to prepare and be very careful about each and every step when cleaning them off. I've just come to these miniatures after finishing off some Age of Sigmar, what are they? Got a couple on my desk in front of me. The new Khorne guys, the heavy metal Reaver types. So yeah, going from them to, well, Bolt Action certainly makes you appreciate the molding quality of the of Citadel miniatures and Games Workshop in general. The detail is quite soft, but for the most part, since for this sort of gameplay you're going for quantity rather than quality, that's perfectly fine. One of the tools that I have out, well, a couple of them actually, are pin vices. Now, they're not out there because I actually pin the miniature. I use them for drilling additional holes where I think they're needed. For example, this particular fellow has a tin mug on the back of his knapsack, so I thought like a gun barrel on like a bolt gun or something, I'd drill it out to just add that little bit more detail to the model. So yeah, holding a piece that small still and drilling it out is, it's agony, to be honest. One caveat here, do not do what I'm doing. Do not drill with your fingers in front of the pin vices like path. You'll end up stabbing yourself. I'm quite frankly amazed I haven't done it to myself more often, but at this point I was just getting frustrated, so that's my excuse. The best way to do this would be to invest in a small G-clamp with, or something similar that you can attach to your desk and firmly secure the item you want to drill. In this case, I decided to use my smaller pin vise to drill a guide hole and then follow up with the larger one to fully drill out the mug. I'm just going to use my hobby knife to just clean it up a bit and also try and neaten up the hole, and then we're pretty much done for that bit of the model. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so moving on to gluing. I'm using the Tamiya brush on stuff, not the super thin stuff, just the regular grade, I suppose. And we'll get to it. Unfortunately, it does take some time, and as you can see, my mounting frustration there as my little trooper there refuses to stand up straight. Yep, there he goes. Oh, the frustration is coming back to me now. Learning to leave well enough alone while things are drying is something I could never quite do. Anyway, so while that's starting to dry, let's look at getting some other things sorted out. Okay, so while the our guy is still being cemented to his base, I'm getting to work on the rifle arms. So I've already done some test fitting, so I just have a rough idea of how it'll fit together. Quite frankly, these plastics, I'm amazed at how spindly they are. Like, they're difficult to assemble. It's something I haven't really encountered before, and also, aside from the weird pudgy faces, the proportions are quite realistic. Like, nothing compared... Well, like, how should I describe it? Games Workshop does heroic scale, like bigger than usual head, hands and feet. Well, this is regular scale, meaning everything is roughly in proportion, apart from the, well, heads, which do look weird and lumpy, but can't be too picky, I suppose. Yep. Yes, and as you can see, my big sausage hands are having a great deal of difficulty properly affixing the rifle to the infantryman's grip. No doubt, again, the frustration is coming back to me as I remembered how much effort it took to get the damned thing straight. So yeah, before I take the risk... Oh look, I'm fiddling with the thing which is not dry again. Well done me. No, okay, never mind then. Oh yes, what was I doing at that stage? Okay. Yeah, since I guess I judged it was well enough dry so that I could work with it without breaking it. Personally, I think I'm mad right there. I decided to get to work on the belt kit, which fortunately it's just a matter of putting a bit of cement on the location. Bearing in mind, I'm also not good at assembling, and people can do this way better than I can, so take anything I say in this regard with a grain of salt. So yeah, I'm usually just drop a bit of glue on the rough spot where the belt kit item is meant to go, and then place it roughly, then do fine adjustments with a tool that's finer than my own fingers. So yeah, next up it's pretty much more of the same, getting the, I'm not sure what pouch that is. I should know this because I've got some Osprey books on the subject of what British infantrymen carry circa 1944. Anyway, yeah, I'll look that up because now I am curious. But anyway, yes, I'm fiddling with the camera like a dunce. Okay, so I'll finish this off and get back to you. So, home stretch now. The belt kit is in place, the head is on, and finally the most difficult and most dynamic part of the model, the rifle arms, which, as you can see, is going to take a while. So yeah, this is just, once again, it's a matter of trying to get it sticking roughly, then doing fine adjustments, well, eventually, once the thing agrees to be stuck, sooner or later. And of course, this is the part, I believe, where the feet to the base isn't particularly dry, so that's probably going to crack any moment now. There we go. Oh, this is tremendously stressful watching it after the fact. And there's me getting a bit too ambitious. This is going to cost me, as I recall. Oh no, deciding not to take the risk. Good man. So helmet, dead simple compared to everything else, just a bit of glue on the top of his head and the entire thing will fuse together. Just once he's on, make sure you just nudge the helmet so that it's a somewhat sane and realistic looking pose and that you can actually see out from under it. I find it's best for most infantry where you can do this, just tilt it back a little bit. It's like, yeah, he's not trying to look cool really, he's trying to be able to be on the watch for Jerry, I suppose. Alright, moment of truth. So I'm going to apply glue fairly liberally to the contact points. Since this is a fairly thin cement, I'm not going to worry too much about getting it on parts which aren't going to be in the final evaluation, like making contact. So it's not like other plastic cements where it's a gel and you get it everywhere and it's a bad scene. Just as long as you don't put your fingers in the glue, just let it dry and it will generally be covered up easily under your layers of priming and paint once you get to it. So yeah, this is how, if like me you're unable to handle miniatures properly while assembling them, you put very large and very ugly fingerprints in armoured vehicles, so just bear that in mind when you're using any form of model glue really. Less is more in general. So a few more finishing touches and there we go. We're just about ready to move on to the next stage of assembly, which is the base. So I've laid out my materials for the first stage. So since I ran out of my great mix of Citadel gravel, I'm going to have to do, well, improvise a bit more. So this is a box of basically shredded cork, courtesy of, well, not courtesy of, I bought it off them, Army Painter, which, yeah, it's basically roughly shaped bits of cork. They look like rocks. So I'm going to pick a couple of them out. This is unthinned PVA glue, or white glue if you're an American, I suppose, and just attach a couple to the base and leave it at that. So, pretty much final stage. The glue for the smaller pieces of rock are dry. Now I'm going to, this is again unthinned PVA, and for these particular bases it's important that it's unthinned because I had a lot of trouble doing this with my first few test miniatures. So I'm going to try and apply it fairly liberally, just on the base away from the details, because I like where the feet and the rocks are stuck to the base, because I found that the capillary action tended to drag the glue towards them, so it would clump up basically while drying out on the large flat surfaces. So this will take a couple of good layers until I'm fairly happy with the coverage. So you can see the spots where the glue is starting to dry up and run away. So I'm going to hit those again until I am more or less happy with everything. Then I am going to, any moment now, dip this guy. Any moment now. There we go. So yeah, shake him off, and then if I was smart enough to remember to show him to the camera, nice one, genius. God damn, past me, you suck. Anyway, that's it. So this is the first stage of the miniature. Finally, it's just onto priming, and then we'll move on to the paint job. See you later.